What up, Pittsburgh Steelers fans? What news for me to wake up to, for you to get throughout the middle of your day? The Pittsburgh Steelers are hosting the 2026 NFL Draft. That's right. The 2026 NFL Draft will be hosted in Pittsburgh by the Steelers. Next year's draft will be hosted by the Green Bay and Wisconsin. So the NFL is going back to their roots with the champions. I absolutely love it. The NFL Draft has seen over 3 million visitors to towns since 2015. See, I'm just so thrilled about the news. I've just woken up. I just can't even say it right. But anyway, Wisconsin, Green Bay getting it in 2025. Then Steelers 2026, the NFL going back to roots with the true champions of the NFL. But the big news, obviously, as Steelers fans, is the Pittsburgh Steelers getting that draft in 2026. Dates yet to be announced. The Steelers put in a bid a few months back. It was so good to see. I don't know if you've seen the promo video yet for it. It looks awesome. Man, I'm definitely going to be there. I've always joked with Marky D that, like, if the Steelers get the draft, I'm going to be there. Probably be my luck anyway that, I'll be having a young family at the time. But if that's not the case, I definitely will be in Pittsburgh for the 2026 draft. That is going to be epic. What news for Steelers fans out there? We finally get that draft in there. It also comes off the back of the Steelers celebrating 50 years since the 5 Hall of Famers drafted in 1974. So it's absolutely huge news. It's huge news for the city of Pittsburgh. Art Rooney said that he felt it was one of the biggest events that they've had. As I said, like, there's over 3 million people that have attended drafts over the last few years. And, in many respects, you also see that in terms of the last draft, there's a reportedly 775,000 people attended the draft in Detroit. But Pittsburgh Steelers 2026 draft is so exciting. It's going to be huge for that week for the Steelers. However, the Steelers come back off a Super Bowl win in 2025, maybe even this year, 2024. But we all know that that's more realistic in 2025. But just absolutely huge news for the Steelers. The draft is huge. I'm so glad that the NFL awarded this to Pittsburgh, that Pittsburgh wanted it as well. And I think I've been thinking about this for a while. Everyone talks about, Dan Marino II, and they talk about, like, Art Rooney. Sorry, they talk about Dan Marino and they talk about Art Rooney II, not necessarily living up to the hype of his father. And that's really, really difficult. But he is starting to put a real stamp and a legacy. And I feel like the front office and the ownership are awakening. The front office have been awake for much more time, but I think, from my perspective, Art Rooney II starting to think a bit differently, think better. Even with Acrisure Stadium, like, a lot of us all want to call it Heinz Field. I know there's a big group out there, and I kind of agree. It should be Three Rivers Stadium by Acrisure or something like that. Like, it should go back to Three Rivers, even though it's not exactly where the Three Rivers Stadium was. But the Acrisure Stadium, as much as we give it all, make fun of the name, the money that they're getting from Acrisure is a lot better than the money that they're going to get from Heinz. And yeah, money isn't everything, but it's sport, it's sponsorship, it's absolutely crucial. So I'm really excited about the Pittsburgh Steelers hosting the 2026 NFL Draft. Although I do know, living in Sydney, one of the best harbors in the world, everyone loves coming here for New Year's Eve. I do know that people, like a lot of us in Sydney, we like to stay frick the hell away from New Year's Eve and from fireworks. Sometimes, you go every other year. So it might be a challenge if you're a Pittsburgh living in Pittsburgh. I can understand you're like, oh, does it have to happen here? I can understand that attitude. I actually can respect it. But as a diehard Steelers fan on the other side of the world, this will become a Steelers mecca that week. It's an NFL mecca that week. It is going to be epic. I cannot wait. So yeah, let me know in the comments. Are you excited about the Pittsburgh Steelers hosting the 2026 NFL Draft? I am. I can barely even get my words out on this show. But as always, go Steelers.